Should you take a minute for each question? No. The easy questions you're gonna wanna do quickly, and
Where'd you
usually
get
the
that?
easy ones are in the beginning. So you wanna bank your time, because you're gonna run out of time.
Well, some you can like look at and know the answer, but others you have to actually think about.
Right. So the ones you need to think about, you're gonna want maybe more than a minute. So let's see which ones we can do really quick.
26.2.
This one says a league is a unit of length, and it's equal to 3 miles. So you could do this. 1 league is equivalent to 3 miles. We want to know if you're gonna do a marathon is 26.2 miles. We want to convert this to leagues. So when you're doing this and converting from units, you want to cancel. You don't want your answer in miles. So you want miles to be up here. So you're going to write 26.2 miles equals how many leagues? So you're going to cross that out. And so basically multiply across, multiply down, and then you're dividing. So real quick, you're going to get 8.7, and the answer is leagues.
You can see that was first.
And you can just,
It already gave you 26.3. What's it got to the 8?
I'm just showing you in case you have a different kind of a question. Okay, what about this one? Because of increased,
Yeah, no.
You multiply 20 by 0.22.
because of increased rents in the area, pizzeria needs to raise the cost of its $20 pizza by 22%. So, what would the new cost be? What'd you get?
24.40.
24 what?
0.40.
Very good, 24.40. How did you do it?
20 times 1.2.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Now, why did you do 1.22? I understand,
It's an increase.
I understand where the 0.22 comes from, that's the 22%. But some people don't understand where the 1 comes from.
Because you're increasing by 20%. You already
Yes.
have all of yours and
So this is gonna give you the 440. And by putting the 1 there, it'll add the 20. So like if you're going to the store and you're buying a top that's $20 and you're paying 6% sales tax, you multiply 20 times 1.06. The 1 is the cost of the item and the 0.06 is the sales tax. And that'll do 2 steps for you in 1. So the answer was 24.40. Next. Okay. A group of friends were comparing the number of cards in their baseball card collection, and indicated below is your table of the number of baseball cards for each friend. Average. What other word could they have written here for average? Mean. Mean is the average. Mean is average. What if they would have written mode?
yes, I'm choosing to ignore.
What's mode?
Is this like less than carrying?
Most frequent or most, we like to use the word often. Why often? Because of the O.
That's a smaller version of
Okay. Do you see an O here? Mode, mode, often. It's a good way to remember it.
Oh.
Okay. Does it help you? Can you see that? Most
Well, I
often.
remember.
What about median?
Middle value.
Middle. Now, do you just take the middle?
No, you have to put them in order.
You have to organize them. Are these organized?
No.
No. So you would have to rearrange these from least to greatest and then, now what if there's an even number of numbers? What would you do?
Take the middle of the
The middle of the 2, add them together and divide by 2. So this is asking you for average. So do we need to organize them? No.
No.
We're gonna just add
And
and divide by what? 5. What do you get?
C.
Excellent. So something like this, you don't need to write anything. It says, when it says do your figuring here, you're going to use your graphing calculator, and you're going to try to do as much on that calculator as possible to save time. Okay, the next one. Train A travels 50 miles per hour for 3 hours. What formula are you gonna use? Distance is the rate times time. So train B is going 70 miles per hour for 2.5 hours. What's the difference? The word difference means subtract between the number of miles from A and B. And this one, you wanna make sure when you're doing this, it's a very simple problem. You wanna make sure that, see this unit right here? Per hour and your time are the same. They will get you if they say 50 miles per hour and they say for 30 minutes. And they will give you the answer as if you were to take 50 times 30. You need to make sure when you're using this formula that these are in the same units. What if it did say 30 minutes? What would you do? A lot of people forget how to convert minutes to the correct unit. Because they might write 58 minutes. How do you convert it? Do you divide by 100? What do you divide by? You divide by 60 because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So if it did say 30 minutes, you would do 30 over 60, which is 0.5. And then you would multiply 0.5 by 50. But this is asking you, I'm going a little deeper than what this question's asking. So 50, you're going to do for train A, you're going to do 50 times 3, which is 150. And train B is 70 times 2.5. And what do you get? And they want the difference, which is, okay. Last one, number 5, sorry. I can't read, number 5. It says, which of the following is a value for B? Okay, this says B minus 3, if you can't read, my copy's really bad, and B plus 4 equals 0. When you have a product, this is a product, set equal to 0, one of these products must be 0. So what you're going to do is set each of these equal to 0 and solve. What are your two answers? 3 and negative 4. So out of these, this answer is not there. But look, they're going to try and confuse you by that 4. So make sure you don't get fooled. It's an easy question. Now, I have seen this question asked another way. They may ask you, what is the sum of the solutions? Okay? That's their way of not letting you work backwards, because you could work backwards on this problem if you didn't know. You guys are way more advanced, but there are people that can't answer this question. Okay, so you have to understand that. There are ways that you could, whenever you have an equation, you always can work backwards, taking these answers and plugging them in. But that would slow you down, big time, to do that. Now, what if, I'm going to change this. What if this answer, what if I had, instead of a 0 here, what if I put a 10? What if I made that a 10? Would you set each of those equal to 10? Yeah? 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 Let's see how many people I can convince. Yeah? So if you saw this problem, you would set that equal to 10 and solve. And you would set this equal to 10 and solve. Wrong. No, 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 no. Don't do that. What you have to do is FOIL this out. You have to do b squared plus b minus 12 equals 10. Subtract 10. Set it equal to 0. Now you try it.
Now we have to factor in.
I just made this up. But this I can't factor in my head, so you would have to do the quadratic formula or complete the square. But we only have a property that says if you have a product set equal to 0, you set each of them equal to 0. You can't do it for if this is not a 0. And a lot of people think you can, so please don't do that. Okay? So, are you good?
Yeah.
All right, we have another one, who's the new one for? Ms. Bonani passed out the ACT questions for Monday. Oh, she'll give you the ACT for Monday. You can do them at home, we're gonna give you one page every day.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Hey, look at the parallel.
Oh my God.
No way. Hey, no, it's just not the same as ACT.
Yes. Say it again, say it again. If you what? Who gives you 10,000? Ohio State. Wow. And you know what? You guys can get a 28. You guys can get a 28, it's not, I've had several kids get 30, 31. Okay, let's hurry up. Okay, quiet, please. All right, we are going to begin graphing polynomials without a calculator based on the degree and the multiplicity and the y-intercept. Okay, so we're going to put it all together today. Easy, this is an easy assignment. So, first of all, we're going to review really quick. What are the two basic shapes of polynomials? If the degree is odd, left and right are opposite, right? The left and right behavior. If the coefficient, leading coefficient is negative, if it's odd, the right side goes up and the left side goes down. You guys know this, right? Okay? How about if the degree is even? What happens to the left and the right? They do the same. They're both going up or they're both going down. How do you know if they're going up? You look at the leading coefficient. If it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, they both go down. Everyone's got that, right? You guys just took a test and you guys did awesome on it yesterday. Awesome. So with that, you guys should do very well on today's assignment. It should be a piece of cake. Piece of cake. So, what we're going to do is we're going to analyze these graphs without a calculator. Here we go. And I have instructions for you. You know all this stuff. We're just going to jump right into this because it's not difficult. First of all, look at this. It's a polynomial. How do I know it's a polynomial? All my x's are with positive exponents, right? And you want these to be broken up. You want them to be factored completely. You might see this problem written as f of x equals x to the 4th minus 5x cubed plus 4x squared. This is the same polynomial as this. In yesterday's test, you guys proved to us that you could factor this completely. What was the first thing you did? You pulled out the x squared, right? Right? Look at this. X to the 4th minus 5x to the 3rd plus 4x squared, right? Do you see a common x squared? You pull that x squared out, and then you were left with x squared minus 5x plus 4. And then what would you do? You're going to factor this, and this one factors to be x minus 1 times x minus 4. So if you happen to see this in standard form, you're going to need to completely factor it. Why do you need to completely factor it? Because you need what are these three things called? What are these three things called? What are they gonna give you? The zeros. The zeros are where the graph hits the x-axis. These are the x-intercepts. Could you tell me what the zeros are? 0, 1, and 4. 0, 1, and 4. So what I want you to do at this point, I want you to put a dot on the x-axis at 0, at 1, and at 4. At 0, at 1, and at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's analyze a few more things here. What is the multiplicity of each zero? Look at this zero right here in this order. The multiplicity of this is the degree of each zero. This is an even multiplicity, right? So it's even. What's it gonna tell you at that zero? What's happening?
It touches.
It's going to touch. Do you wanna use T for touch?
Sure.
We'll just, so when I write multiplicity of each zero, it is even, but we're gonna say what it's doing at each zero. It's touching. How about at 1, what's it gonna do? The multiplicity's odd, it's going to cross. And at 4, what's it gonna do? It's gonna cross. So, when we go to graph this thing, it's going to only touch at 0. It's not gonna go right through at that place. And at these two, it's gonna go right through the graph. It's gonna cross it, nail it. What is the degree of this whole polynomial? You're gonna add up all these powers. 2, 3, 4. The degree is 4, which is even. So, what's this thing going to look like? Well, let's look one more step at the leading coefficient. If you do not see a negative in front, you know it's positive. So what's my graph going to be shaped like? It's going to be like one of these. Left and right have to be going up. Remember, even, they do the same thing. The y-intercept. What do you know, what do you recall about the y-intercept of any graph? It's, okay, if it's written in this form, if it's written in this well, once you pull out the x squared, you'll see what it is. Oh, actually, no, you can't, because you're gonna plug a 0 in here. When you plug 0 in, this one does not have a constant. It does not have a constant. Everybody see this one? This is your standard form. There is no constant right here. So it's 0, 0. And how do you mathematically figure it out? You will plug 0 in. You could plug it in here. What is 0 squared? What's 0 minus 1? You already know what the answer is. And what's 0 minus 4? What's 0 times anything? 0. So the y-intercept is 0, 0. It's very easy. All you do is replace x for 0 and solve for y. Yes.
The x squared value, you already know that one of the zeros is 0, so you know that it has to cross that.
Exactly. Yes.
This one.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Okay, now let's start graphing this. We know that our graph is shaped like this. So what you're going to do is you are going to touch here and cross at these two places. Knowing that my graph has to come, it's going to be coming up, but I want to touch here. So what I have here, this is what I have. I'm going to just do this for now. It's going to touch, and it's not going to go through at 0, but it's going to come up. How high up? Is this thing going to go barely up like that? Is it going to go up? How high up? I mean, between 0 and 1, you don't have much space here, but really, it could go way up here. It could go really high. We don't know. So how high should we go? What you should do is do something. Why do I have a t-shirt here? What do you think? If you want to see how high this thing is going, you could plug I would plug 0.5 in for x. and evaluate it. Okay, so you would do 0.5 squared times 0.5 minus 1 times 0.5 minus 4. Multiply those three numbers together, and that'll tell you how high to go. Does anyone know what it is? Let's do it. So we have 0.5 squared times 0.5 minus 1 times 0.5 minus 4, and that's going to give you 0.4375. So really about 0.4. So how high up? Not very high. So it just went like this. Now what's going to happen here? It's going to go through 1, and it's got to come down. How far down? I don't know. So what you should do is plug in a 1 and possibly a 2. I mean a 2 and a 3, sorry. A 2. We know what 1 is. 1 is 0. And a 3. Thank you. We're pointing it out. 2, you're going to plug in 2. Where are you going to put a 2 in? In right here. So 2 squared. So you have 2 squared times. What is 2 minus 1? You're putting 2 right here. 2 minus 1 is 1. And what is 2 minus 4? Negative 2. So you have 4 here, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So at 2, you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I know how far down to go. You'll be more accurate if you plug some numbers in, because I really didn't know how far down this thing went. Now for 3, I believe it's something like 18.
Yeah, negative
18. It's negative 18. If you plug 3 in, and it's obviously off the page, so let's just do that. And we'll just go down. And obviously this thing, you don't have much space here, but you gotta go right back up. And it's gotta go through that. So that's what your graph looks like. Now let's check this out. Let's graph it on the calculator. So we have x squared times, and you could write it in factor form. Let's see how accurate you are. There it is. Does that look like what we just did?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Amazing. We did it without the calculator. Let's try the next one. Okay, who thinks they could master this one on their own? Okay, so, someone wanna tell me what to do?
ask the teacher.
Who knows? I have all the prompts here for you. What are the zeros?
Negative 1 and 3.
Negative 1 and 3. So, negative 1 and 3. What else?
Touch, touch.
Touch, touch.
4.
So on your test, if I see you cross at these places, you lose points. What is the degree of this whole thing? It's a 4, which is even. So I know both left and right are going to be doing what because of this? The leading coefficient is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So this is what my graph is going to be shaped like. Make sure it looks like that. How do you find the y-intercept? What do?
Plug in 0.
When x is 0, when you put a 0 here and a 0 here, you get, and it's not going to kill you to write this out, negative 1/10 times, what is 0 plus 1? 1. What's 1 squared? 1. And then what's 0? What's 0 minus 3? Negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. If you were to multiply these three numbers together, what do you get?
Negative
when do you want it?
The latest you can. How long does it take?
It'll take like maybe 2 minutes.
Okay.
Let's
Last
do it
5
right now.
minutes. Okay. Thanks. All right, when you multiply these together, you get -9 tenths. So at 0, -9 tenths, which is almost at -1, you're gonna find out. So now, what do? Well, I need my graph to look like this, but it has to touch at these 2 places. So, what I'm gonna do is come somewhere from the left, and you're gonna touch here. You're going to pick up your y-intercept. Now, my question is, where do I go from here? Anyone have a suggestion?
Put in a 1.
I would put in a 1. I don't know how far down to go. So I'm gonna put a 1, I'm gonna evaluate this function when x is 1. So what is 1 plus 1? What's 2 squared? It's 4. So you have -1/10 times 4. And then what is 1 minus 3? -2. -2 squared is 4. So you've got 16 tenths, which is it's negative, which is -1.6, which is right there. So now from there, what do? Well, what you could do is plug in a number like 2. Not like 2, 2. 2, what is 2 plus 1? 3? What's 3 squared? 9. What is 2 minus 3? -1. -1 squared is 1. And then you have -1/10. So this is going to give you -9 tenths. So then you're going to come up and shoot that down. Easy?
Yep.
And you can check it out on your calculator. We're not going to because we're pretty confident it's right. Number 3, what would you do?
Zeros would be a 1, 3.
1,
No.
3, and -2. I would right away place my zeros on my graph so I don't forget. Okay, those are your zeros. For every x value, you're going to have a 0. What is the multiplicity of each of those zeros?
Cross.
They're going to cross. All of them are going to cross. What is the degree of this polynomial?
3.
It's a 3 with the leading coefficient. Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So what should this graph look like? Should it be this way? Or should it be that way? It's this one, not that one, because of the leading coefficient. Now, how do you find the y-intercept? You're going to put a 0, 0, and a 0. So you have -1/2 times 0 minus 1 is -1, 0 minus 3, and 0 plus 2. Now these 2's cancel, and basically all what you have is 3 times 1, which actually it's a -3, because you have an odd number of negatives. So at 0, -3, you're going to put a dot, that's your y-intercept. So, what do I do now?
-1. Maybe plug in that.
Maybe you want to put, is this graph, we said we're this shape, so we're going to be coming from here. Now, if you plug, did anybody plug in -1? Anyone do that?
Good 4.
What do you get?
4.
4?
-4.
-4. Yeah, now why would it not be 4? Because you would end up having too many terms, maxes and mins. So he said -4.
Confine to.
And then come up, plug in a 2 here. What do you get? You will get a value when x is 2. If you were to put a 2 here, a 2 here, and a 2 here,
2.
what do you get? 2?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna come down. Easy? Okay, how about the last one? What are you going to do? We're gonna put it all together right now. I did not give you, the only thing, actually there's 3 things you can easily answer at this point. 3 things. What 3 things do you know easy?
Leading coefficient.
The y-intercept, wow, you guys were quick on that one. What is it? What's the leading coefficient, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, and what's the degree?
3.
So this thing is gonna look like this, right? That's what we know. We don't know these 2 things. We don't know the zeros, and we don't know the multiplicity of 0. And look what we have to do. No,
We just had to stop doing this.
We just took a test on this. It's-
okay, it's not that difficult. Let's try one. Remember this? What am I doing? So what do you do? See this? It was a 0, right? If 1 is a 0, you're gonna write x minus 1. What's remaining here is this. Now, can you break this up without too much work? Right?
I was so weird getting this.
That wasn't too bad, was it? Now, what are the zeros? Is it 1, 3, 1?
1.
It's just 1 and 3, right? But the degree is 3, so what are you gonna do? How are you gonna rewrite this
1
problem?
is 2.
1 squared.
X minus 1 squared. Why? Because there's 2 of the same zeros. So what is this telling me? It's telling me that at this 0, which is 1, it's not negative 1, it's 1, and at 3, at 1, it's going to touch, and then it's gonna cross. So, is this not, this is easy, right? So what are you gonna do? You're gonna put a dot at 1, a dot at 3, and you're gonna, this thing is, it's got a positive leading coefficient. So how far, oh, and we need to put 0, -3, right? That's your y-intercept. So what do you, this thing is gonna go like, what do I do? Let's plug in a 2. Let's plug in a 2. What do you get? What do you get? -1? And how far down did it go? Anyone know? I'm just gonna draw that, that's fine. So if you wanna know how high, here is the actual, oh, wait a minute, I did a boo-boo. What did I do wrong?
You wanna blow?
What did I do? And this happens all the time. I forgot, it touches here. And what did we say it went into what?
-1.
See? And then, now this we're just gonna, let's just do this. What if we don't know, what do we do here? Do I just connect it like that? Really what you should do is you should plug in a number between 2 and 3. Does anyone know what you get? Did anyone do 2.5? Let's see what it is. What do you guys guess? A number? So it's x cubed.
But,
It's negative 1.0. The greater than
There it is.
hey, look, it doesn't do anything.
Now we could hit second table, and if you wanted to see what it was, at 2, it went to -1. And so in between 2 and 3, it's a number between 0 and -1. So we're just gonna leave it like this and go like that. Probably not much farther than that. That's it. Done.
negative 1.12.
-1 point. Good. Done. So, is anyone confused?
No.
All right, I want you to flip this over. What do you have here?
Sketches match.
Yes. These 8 questions are matching. How do you know what is the correct graph? What are the things you're gonna look at? What are you gonna look at? The degree. If the degree is odd, the left and the right do opposite. If the leading coefficient is negative, you know the right side is gonna go up and the left side is gonna go down. Also, you should look at the number of max and mins. How many max and mins are there based on the degree? 1 less, at most. How about if it's an even degree problem? The left and the right have to do the opposite. I'm sorry, the left and right go the same. Either both gonna go up or both go down, depending on the leading coefficient. So these 8 matching should be very easy at this point. And then flip to the very back,
And that's what we do.
and that's what we just did. You've got 6 graphs. I wanna see some quality graphs. I wanna see the x-intercepts, the zeros. I wanna see if it's gonna touch or cross. I wanna see the y-intercepts. I wanna see the shape nice. And I want you to put a little effort in when it's in between, let's say 2 and 5, plug a number in, like 3 or 4, and see how far down the graph or how far up the graph is going. So without using your graphing calculator, sketch these by hand. Okay? You will have probably 2 of these to do for your next test, to sketch by hand.
Are these 10 and 11
I don't know, but then, on your test, you may not see this.
Okay.
So, will you know all, I'm not gonna give you, I'm prompting you, I type these in. So, your question's gonna look more like these 2 on your test. So are you gonna know what to do if I don't give you this information? Okay. So, that concludes our day, and you guys